And showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. A look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. And we're coming to you live today from my home away from home, an airport somewhere in America. My name is Rich Freeman. I'm executive editor of the ChannelPro Network. With me is my co-host, Erick Simpson, who is CIO and Senior Vice President of SPC International, a training and business improvement organization for MSPs and other IT providers. Where are you this week, Erick?
I am home-based, Southern California, Rich, before taking off on a whirlwind tear of travel. So maybe not the next 5-minute roundup, but for probably the next 3 or 4. I'm going to be competing with you for travel miles.
Okay. Well, maybe one of these weeks we'll both broadcast from an airport. Why not?
Why not? We tried a couple of other venues together. Airport seems like the logical choice.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Well, let's dive into the news of the week, and it was a slam dunk. This was a very easy story to pick this week. The big story of the week is Kaseya purchasing RapidFire Tools. Which was quite a shock to a lot of people. RapidFire Tools has a number of products that are very popular, very widely used among MSPs, including Network Detective, which has over 6,000 users in the MSP community. Kaseya, just a couple of weeks ago, their CEO, Fred Vacola, in an interview with me, said that they've got 2 acquisitions coming up in the month of September. And it took only about 10 days after that conversation for the first of those to go public, and that is RapidFire Tools. In addition to Network Detective and some other solutions that they make, RapidFire Tools has a product called Audit Guru, which automates compliance with regulations, specifically GDPR. But it turns out that for a little over a year now, Kaseya and RapidFire Tools have been talking about a deal that would result in an acquisition and simultaneously working on a solution together. It's called Kaseya Compliance Manager. It's based heavily on Audit Guru. It is now an embedded component of the Kaseya RMM product, and it essentially arms that product to do compliance management, GDPR and beyond, HIPAA, PCI, et cetera, for MSPs. Kaseya has been on something of a tear with acquisitions this year. They merged with Unitrends before. They have announced partnerships as opposed to acquisitions with IT Glue and Spanning, which is a cloud-to-cloud backup solution provider. So they have been adding capabilities to their suite pretty aggressively all year long, and they've got some more stuff coming. They won't tell me what it is, but at some point in the next few weeks, there's another pretty major acquisition coming, and 2 more probably before the end of the year. And we do know that they will have something to do with security and business continuity. So, Erick, what came to mind for you when you first heard this news?
Well, you took the words out of my mouth. They are on a tear, and again, as we're watching the horse race of the top vendors in our channel, as they run around the track here, just picking up momentum and steam. This acquisition news is good for the channel. It's good for the partners. It's good for the vendors. I mean, it shows a healthy, growing ecosystem that really lets us appreciate the new perspective of these vendors that are leading. They're really concerned with providing, these consolidated services and products and giving their partners a single pane of glass with which to utilize these tools to grow their businesses. And that's got to be good all the way around, Rich.
And, one thing I should have emphasized before that's going to be very important to RapidFire Tools partners, RapidFire Tools is going to continue operating as a business unit, essentially a subsidiary of Kaseya. It's still going to be called RapidFire Tools. The senior leadership team is intact. They're going to continue selling all the products that they sold before exactly the same way they sold them before. The product roadmaps not only aren't being weakened in any way, but according to Kaseya, they're actually going to be sinking some capital into RapidFire Tools to get more ambitious and accelerate the product development roadmaps for those products. So anyone who likes working with RapidFire Tools the way they're doing it now and maybe using those systems in conjunction with ConnectWise or Autotask or whatever can continue to do so. That's not going to change.
Yeah, I think this transaction, it epitomizes what a strategic acquisition means, right? It's a strategic acquisition. So, 1 + 1 = 3 as the end result, and everybody benefits, including the partners.
Well, you know what else everyone benefits from, Eric, and that's reading a good book, and that has something to do with your tip this week. What's your reading recommendation?
Yes, Rich, it's time for another of Erick's book recommendations, and today I'm recommending a book by Alan K. Weiss titled $1 Million Consulting, and here it is on my iPad. Try to get that straight. Now, you're looking at a previous version of the book. Alan has released a new version since this one. It's not current as of this year, but it is revision number 5, and he has evolved this book over the last several years. I remember the very first version, Rich, I read. He talks about building a growing, successful, profitable consulting practice. And the first version I read, he was, there was a chapter in there about setting up your office, and he was talking about fax machines and the kind of phone system to buy and things like that. And boy, he has certainly evolved it to incorporate now email of all things and other technologies for today's consultant. But I gotta say that reading this book now, it's a beast. It's a big book. But getting through it and getting past Alan's considerable ego, because he is a very successful multi-million-dollar consultant, and his ego and his perspective bleeds through the pages to you. But I've got to say that it has changed the way that I and SPC consult. It has changed the way that we write proposals. It has changed the way that we conduct sales engagements. It is really a good book for those viewers that are looking for that next level, that next edge of improving their consultative expertise at growing their practice and making certain that we're always getting paid for the value that we provide, not the services that we provide, which is a key component of Alan's perspective. It's all about the improvement that we leave our clients with. That is the value, and not particularly what the tools that we use and how we get there and things like that. So, there will be a couple of surprises and shocks. I questioned, some of Alan's, hypotheses throughout the book, but as we started adopting them, I started to appreciate, take myself out of my own way to appreciate what he was trying to deliver. And it's I guarantee it's a very fruitful read, and one of my go-to business books.
Well, it's interesting, excuse me, that so much of the advice in that book is timeless, essentially. I mean, he's kind of caught up to technology in certain ways, but a lot of what he's been talking about has been true for many, many years.
It really is. It's all about, the relationship that you build with people and how you represent your value. And his point is, look, you want to be the person that people ask for, not your company, not your industry, not somebody needs to reach out and say, hey, I want Erick Simpson because he's the guy. I want Erick Simpson. Get me Erick Simpson, right? So that's the whole premise around this, is like you build that intrinsic value so that people understand you as, for the value that you bring, no matter, what you're doing at that particular time. So being that thought leader, that change agent that folks recognize and appreciate because of the results that you deliver, and how you structure your agreements and proposals so that you're really being measured not on you're being measured on, again, the outcome that you leave the client with, the business outcome, or how you improve their operations once you're done with working with them. So again, taking pricing and value away from, we're going to, build you a new infrastructure, we're going to do these kinds of things. It's all about the improvement that the overall organization experiences as a result of their engagement with you, that keeps your clients coming back to you over and over and over again. And I've got to say, since I've adopted these methodologies, I have more repeat clients that just come back to me over and over after we take a pause during consulting engagements than I've ever experienced before. So lots of good stuff. Lost your audio, Rich. There you go.
How about now? Yeah, useful information, good food for thought. Thank you for that book recommendation. And now that the audio is restored, we have time for one more story. Eric, do you know who has produced the most sausages in 1 minute?
I don't, but I'm sure you're going to tell me who that is and where I can find that kind of interesting information.
That's right. It's fascinating information. The answer is Barry John Crow, and he produced 78 sausages in a minute once. That's just one example of the fascinating information you're going to find in the newest edition of the Guinness Book of World Records, which is just out now. We discover many things in there, like the age of the world's oldest living trapeze artist, 85 years old.
Wow.
Unbelievable. What else? World's longest knitting needles are 14.5 inches long, give or take. All sorts of other good stuff. Are you a Guinness Book of World Records fan, Eric?
I got to say I am, and my hat's off to Barry the Sausage King. That's pretty impressive. I think, the folks that do the hot dog, the extreme eating competitions will probably, chow 78 of those things down in record time as well.
I don't know. I'm thinking, can I do 79? Should I set that goal, 79, make my way into the 2020 edition of the Guinness Book of World Records? It's a high hurdle, but something worth investing time and effort in.
Well, viewers, let's vote. Let us know if we should encourage Rich to be the person that overtakes Barry's awesome sausage creation record.
It's the 5-minute roundup. This is a 1 minute thing. I could do this actually on the show.
Wow.
We would still have 4 minutes to discuss the news.
You know what? And let's even make it, let's raise the bar. Let's do it in some interesting, out of the way place while we're on the 5-minute roundup.
Sure. Yes. Broadcasting live from the Delicatessen. Well, thank you very much for joining us. That is all the time we have got for this week's episode. If you like the show, you'd like to see some of the past ones, keep up with the ones coming up, please subscribe to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube. You'll get all that information there. If you want to read up on stuff like Kaseya buying RapidFire Tools and everything else happening in the industry, as well as lots of good information about how to grow your business, go to ChannelProNetwork.com. We are posting new content there every day. To learn more about the work that Eric and his team does for MSPs, you want to go to consulting.spc-intl.com. That's consulting.spc-intl.com. That is our show for this week. Please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.